folks that were part of Doolittle's raids over Tokyo. So, yeah. Now, remember, this is also when we decided to drop the bomb in around 1945, and the first one was over Hiroshima, and then the other one was Nagasaki. So, not an easy thing, and the resulting deaths and such that had occurred. But later on, once the Japanese had surrendered onto the ship, then it took a while and we helped them to rebuild. So it's not as if we're not a compassionate country. We do help in rebuilding and such.
I don't think we realized how bad things really would get.
Yes, because imagine being Eisenhower in the office. You're given two options. We can send troops, we can lose all those troops and the war will continue on, or we can use this thing called...
That was Truman.
Truman
made that
corrected.
decision.
I'm sorry. But having to make that kind of a very difficult decision, and then you make that decision because you know you have to live with it. The bombs are dropped, the war is over, but the kids that look at this now, if you don't dig deeper and look at the possibility of what could have happened had we not used the bomb, no matter what anyone says, nobody wants to be in the one and making a decision like that. And he was very brave for doing something like that. Right over here next door.
Okay.
This is World War I. All the really neat packing, the uniforms that they wore back then. I know, these are the rifles that we used as well. And here's our president, Teddy Roosevelt.
My grandfather was in World War I.
Was he?
He was one of the drivers in the trucks in France.
Oh, okay.
So.
This here is General Billy Mitchell. Now, if you remember, he was the one that wanted he felt that air superiority was going to do better things and help us move faster as far as in the war. He did pay a price for it, but by golly, he was right on the nose too. And it was something that he knew that, let's face it, the military doesn't like to get ideas and be told what to do, but he was on the nose about that. So there's a book here that if you can find it and read that. I have not read it yet. I have one that's talking about the Alaska veterans and building of the highway and such, and it's a great book.
We've lived here since what was the year
87.
87. We've been here all this time, and it's just
One of my friends was Steve Haycox, and he was a professor emeritus of history, and his specialty was Alaska history.
Nice.
So a lot of the books on he wrote or collected and edited. So he died.
Imagine in World War II when we're going through all of this, and it's not mentioned in school books and taught to the students, because we were considered a part of not a part of the war, but just something that kind of like a side note.
Yeah, the tour in Berlin from 80 to 82, Berlin was still officially in World War II. So I'm officially a World War II vet, even though I was born in 51.
Yeah.
But I have a World War II medal.
That's amazing. Let's
Which,
go right on next door. Ben, you were saying?
Well, they awarded that to people in Okinawa as well.
Nice.
For the same reason.
Okay, so in World War II, this is part of the tour here.
So
Please
we'll
step
catch
on
up
in.
with this.
And Bob will take care of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Does it sound good to you? She goes outside and shoots fine. So, and ptarmigan here, they're just small, quick quails. And in the winter, they turn white. In the summer, they're brown. Both colors, almost like smaller than pheasants, bigger than chukars.
So what is this thing?
This is
I've
vaguely-
seen them all over the place.
This is from the inside of a whale's mouth.
Inside of it.
And it would be on the top lip, and it's flexible, and it would filter the krill for them eating.
Okay.
There
Are there
would
multiple
be
ones, or is
yes,
this
there
one?
would be 30 to 40 of them in a mouth, and it could be going through. I always thought when I was studying them that they were just kind of inside. Now, when I got a good picture of of the sperm whale, it had it just on the front. I have actually got a picture of that. Okay. Yeah, now I understand a little bit better. We use it for artwork.
Just so you know, I have this on.
Oh,
Is that okay?
Is that all right?
that's absolutely fine. We tell
You're
these
on.
stories. But yeah, this baleen, and you can touch it. It's now like plastic.
Oh, and that one's been
And
etched.
as I said, we use it for artwork. I have 4 pieces in my house. 3 of them have artwork on them. I bought them from the natives a lot of times. My best one was they were just outside the Sears Mall selling there in the parking lot. And I said, hey, how much is that? He says, you got $25? Yep, here you are. And that's how I got it.
And they're called what again?
Baleen.
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 Yeah, we use it. The natives use it for in a lot of their artistry with the different ways, and use it for eyes. They use it for different spacing down, different things. Just almost anything. Because I have some. I'm trying to think. It's whale tusk or. But I have some different artifacts that have been made by the natives.
Okay.
And that's really the only way you can get it nowadays.
There's some more pictures of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And as I said, you can touch that anytime. Alaska Territorial Guard, that's what the statue is out front. When Muktuk went down to Seattle, he ended up getting the Enfield rifles for them. These are World War I Enfields. So he brought them back, and some of them, as you can see, carved and did whatever with them. We actually have Muktuk's pistol. And all our weapons in here are modified so we can't fire. Why is that? Just these artifacts, they were cool. Yeah. And then I have a listing of all 6,600 of the natives who were part of the HEG. I have it alphabetical, and I have it by city. Okay. So we have natives who come in here and look up their relatives. And I've been amazed in that. And if I even have a homeless person coming in and say, I wanted to see if my family was there, it was in it, or I always heard they were in the ATG. Were they? So we can actually come in, and I was more than happy to do that. Well, I had a listing that was only about 4,500 names, but I was working with the Veterans Affairs group here in Anchorage, and the director goes, I have a master list. I go, can you make that for me, Verdi? So yeah, that was one. And it didn't hurt that his deputy is also a volunteer in our museum.
Yeah.
Now this is the kind of the uniform that they made of. What I thought was, when I got deep into it, these were made by the natives. Okay? The U.S. government back in D.C. contracted for the natives to make these for the soldiers and for anybody else. So it was pretty amazing. This is pretty common for nowadays even. The women's ones are colorful. They're gorgeous. My wife has one that I bought for her in No. One of the ladies here on Saturday Market was selling them. I've seen them. She does an outstanding job. But they're expensive now, of course. And, it might be $300, $400. But they're just amazing. The way that the pockets are set up and such, you can just sort of slide right in, and it's comfortable and it's warm and it takes down the wind. That's cool.
This dress is pretty.
Stop briefly right here. This is all the aircraft in the Aleutian Island campaign. So this is the American aircraft. This is the Japanese aircraft. One of the things that they did that is most unusual is the PBYs, the Navy PBYs, became bombers because we didn't have enough bombers initially. And they fly so slow.
How much weight did they carry?
I'm not sure. They carried I'm trying to think, about 8 to 10 bombs. So
Okay.
not, and that would probably have been the 200-pound bombs.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Well, yeah, and especially when they fly so damn slow.
Right.
The P-38 was pretty
That's pretty
interesting here. We actually have P-38 on base that was rebuilt from World War II. It's it looks bigger to me here than what I have, but that's the Japanese called it the Fork Devil.
Okay.
Because they could go faster than they could down, and in a dive. This Octan Japanese Zero was shot down in 4th of June 1942 when the Japanese attacked Dutch Harbor, and it landed, thought it was okay. What was interesting, the PBY who shot it shot the indicator to the oil. So he thought he was out of oil and he was going to have to crash. And so he landed on this smooth island. He thought, well, it had one of the interesting factors we have in Alaska. I call it the Alaska quicksand. But it's vegetation that's from 6 to 2 feet, and then water below that, mud below that. It was a very soft landing once he flipped it and broke the operator's neck. We found it a month later, and that was the one shipped down to San Diego. We rebuilt it and then flew it and took pictures of it and found its vulnerabilities.
Right.
One of the interesting vulnerabilities was no armament except at the pilot's seat.
Oh.
The gas tanks were not double sealed like ours were. Therefore, if you hit the gas tanks, it would blow up. Another one was the torque on the engine was so great at 250 miles an hour that it couldn't turn left. So the Americans found that out. So if they had a guy on their tail, increase your speed and turn left and they can't follow you, a lot of times they could swing back around and get right behind them and shoot them down. So Bong, the famous fighter ace, used that technique a lot. And Bong actually flew.
He did.
He flew the P-38.
Okay.
He's a park named after him in
Yeah,
Wisconsin
we're
too.
from Wisconsin, so.
So this is my Attu and Kiska route. Attu and Kiska, this is Attu. Attu is one of the most mountainous of all the islands in the Aleutian chain at the very tail end. The rest of the islands that are in that chain are underwater. This is the village was here. We attacked here and up here and then all the way up there. We did a squeeze movement, which worked after 7 days. The Japanese held us in the Massacre Bay, which was about 60% of the folks there, and we had 11,000 in our attacking against about 2,400. What was amazing is that they had the high road, they had underground locations, and they could just pop up, fire, and they were all pretty much experts. So if you stuck your head up, you might get shot off. After 7 days, they ran out of ammunition, they were running out of food. Logistics really won the war because we started stopping their movements into Attu in December of 1942, and then March 1943 we stopped it. Literally they had no more deliveries, so it was not so good for them, and they would start stealing the American food as they would be battled. The GIs were not necessarily stealing their food. They would if they could find it, but they were stealing their gloves and their clothes because their clothes were built for cold. They were all from Hokkaido, the northern part of Japan, where the Americans were supposed to be going to the desert in north, and they were wearing that type of uniform, especially the boots. They had just classic leather boots, You get the muskeg, and the muskeg is that spongy stuff, and you would get wet. You step in the muskeg, you sink down about 8-12 inches, and if you don't change your socks after so long, then your feet are gonna have a little problem. And in fact, we had over 2,100 injuries just from frostbite and trench foot. So, and a lot of those lost their legs or their hands or parts of their